The iPhone 17 surprises me more and more every single day. This is arguably the most beautiful phone I have ever laid my eyes on. And don't get me wrong, I love and appreciate the iPhone Air, but this sage green color calls my name more than any other phone I've ever held. Whenever I compare this phone to my iPhone 17 Pro Max, that phone feels like a brick. That phone's design, although I love it, it doesn't feel as polished whenever you are holding it. There is something about the way the standard iPhone 17 feels. It just feels more polished to me. I enjoy how light the phone feels in hand. And there's something about this back glass that looks extra beautiful to me. Maybe it's just the color. Maybe it's the way the Apple logo reflects with this design. Maybe it's the camera island that is a darker green and then it pops with those lighter green camera rings. I don't know. I just find this phone absolutely gorgeous. The matte sides, the color matched buttons. This phone calls my name, absolutely. On the iPhone 17, they increased the display to 6.3 inches from the iPhone's 16's 6.1 inches. And I feel like for the majority of people, this size is absolutely perfect. It feels great in hand, as in not too large. And at the same time, you feel like the screen is still large. Then of course you get those beautiful thin bezels. You get that new 120 Hertz AMOLED display, which is arguably one of the best feature upgrades on this device. And of course you are rounded out with that dynamic island in the top of the display. So yeah, I don't think Apple could have designed a better looking base iPhone than this one right here. I want to jump back to the screen because that is one thing that really surprised me. When Apple announced the iPhone 17, straight up, they said, hey, we brought ProMotion to the base iPhone. I didn't think they would ever do it. We all know that we have been waiting for ProMotion to launch on the base iPhone for years, and Apple has decided to do it. I think I read somewhere where the excuse was that they didn't have enough of those displays to cover the base iPhones and the Pro iPhones. I don't know how true that is. I think Apple just decided to designate that to the Pros just because they knew the Pros didn't have as much to offer compared to the base iPhone. And honestly, I'm still kind of shocked they did it. But yeah, you get that brand new 120 Hertz display. And not only that, but you get the new Ceramic Shield 2 that allows the new Apple anti-reflective display that is exactly the same as it is on the 17 Pro series. So the anti-reflectivity, you will definitely notice it if you've never used an anti-reflective display before. I will say that it blocks out about 50% of the light that hits the display. Now, it's not as good as Samsung's Ultraphone, but a base model device having an anti-reflective display alone is amazing. And then of course you get the new 3000 nits of brightness. So this phone, combining all of those features, has made this screen the exact same experience as it is on the Pro models and on the Air, which is absolutely mind-blowing. This phone starts at $799 and it has the exact same screen features as their beautiful thin beast of a phone and their Mac Daddy Pro and Pro Maxes. And I hope Apple continues to do this. I hope that Apple continues to bring Pro level features to the base model iPhone. I find this display absolutely breathtaking. It not only competes with displays in higher price ranges, but it destroys other displays in its same price range. So I think Apple did a really good job with this display, and it no longer makes the base iPhone a joke for tech people. I could 100% use this phone as my only phone in my arsenal if I had to. It's missing a few features that I particularly need for content creation, but if I had to, I could easily rock this iPhone 17, especially since it now comes in the most beautiful color of all time. And I know I keep talking about it, but I want this exact same sage green color on my Pro iPhone. Apple, make it happen. And Apple really didn't skimp on performance either. This phone comes with a new A19 processor. There's not very many devices in this price range that can even touch that processor. Now, it does come with 8 gigs of RAM as opposed to 12 gigs of RAM, but I think for right now, especially with you not being a Pro, that should be plenty. This phone's performance with iOS 26. We all know iOS 26 is a performance hog, and this phone handles itself very well. Animations are very smooth. Opening apps even staying open in the background seem to stay open for a pretty long time for it having 8 gigs of RAM. Opening applications, the animations, the scrolling speeds, all of the little like dynamic island animations and like the unlocking the phone animation, all of that stuff looks absolutely beautiful. And of course, now that we have 120 Hertz on this phone, it is stupid smooth for a base iPhone. And whenever you are just using the phone, scrolling, texting, watching YouTube videos, opening applications, playing games, a lot of the performance on this phone is going to be very similar to what it is on the Pros. For one, the Pros, of course, will have better cooling, which we will talk about, but it will also give you much better and much smoother graphics as well. And I think if you did pick up this phone, I think you will be good performance-wise for multiple years. This phone does support Apple Intelligence, but I find it hilarious that during the entire iPhone 17 keynote, they didn't bring up Apple Intelligence at all. So of course you can use Apple Intelligence. I use it every once in a while with a couple of their features, but it's still essentially in beta. Siri still isn't very good. The ChatGPT integration is solely dependent on ChatGPT, which I guess is fine if you're okay with that. Visual intelligence is pretty great on here. Apple Intelligence is Apple Intelligence, and this phone supports it for what that's worth. Briefly talking about battery life, the battery life on this phone has been great. Now I will say that whenever I use this phone to record video, the battery seems to die very quickly, but that's to be expected. Now if you use this phone in a typical manner when it comes to texting, phone calls, social media browsing, doom scrolling, shopping on Amazon, this battery will last you all day. Even if you sprinkle in a lot of photo taking and video taking, this phone should last you all day. I will say I can tell a difference between this phone and the Pros when it comes to connectivity. So I don't know what Apple did with the new Pro Max, but on my Pro Max, I get absolutely insane 5G speeds and signal strength. So I feel like this phone is more like a normal phone. A lot of times whenever I have both phones on the same network connected, sitting next to each other, I typically have better signal strength on my Pro Max than I do on the iPhone 17. So I will say that this phone is more normal and the Pro Max is just crazy in terms of signal strength. One thing that also surprised me was the multimedia experience on this phone. I love how light this phone feels in hand. Whenever you are watching like YouTube videos as an example, this phone feels so light. There's no wrist strain. There's no issue even for me being a Pro Max user with viewing this display with this screen size. I think, like I mentioned earlier, 6.3 inches is a great screen size. And with this phone getting as bright as it does, HDR content just pops off of this display. Now, of course, I don't like the dynamic island cutout. It's massive. It's especially more noticeable on a smaller display like this. But with the screen brightness, with that HDR especially, it just looks so good. And then when you look at the speaker quality, the speakers on this phone get loud and are clear as well. And I think they sound really good. So whether you are an avid movie watcher or YouTube watcher on your phone, I think this phone is going to serve you very well with how beautiful the screen is and how good the speakers sound. When it comes to cameras, Apple did not disappoint. It comes with a 48 megapixel wide angle lens. And then it also comes with that 48 megapixel ultra wide lens. Now for me personally, I am somebody who thoroughly enjoys a telephoto lens more than I enjoy a ultra wide lens. Like if this phone had the 4X ultra wide lens that the Pros do, this phone would be, I wouldn't even need a Pro. It would be that good. The ultra wide and the main angle lenses on this phone are excellent. When it comes to photo taking, to video taking, it doesn't matter. The phone does a really good job. Now, one thing I do recommend you guys do is make sure to go into settings and turn on the ability for you to shoot in 48 megapixel mode. That'll just make sure that you get the highest quality on your main lens and on your ultra wide lens. Now, one difference between this phone and the Pros is that yes, they both had a 48 megapixel main sensor, but the sensor on the Pros is going to be a larger sensor. So it's going to allow a lot more light to enter into the camera, and it will just shoot better photos and video in lower light. But yeah, the cameras are excellent on this phone. And of course, it was upgraded from the iPhone 16 as well. Now, I know this phone is not a Pro device, but I would like the ability to shoot log video and shoot raw photos on this device. Yes, I understand not a lot of people will be doing that, but say for example, I created a YouTube channel a couple of months after I bought this phone, and I decided to, hey, I want to play around with my device and shoot raw photos and or shoot log video. You won't have that ability. You will have to buy a Pro iPhone. Now, I understand the log video part. Like, this phone only has a USB 2 port as opposed to the new USB 3. And that, of course, will limit data transfer speeds. So you probably wouldn't be able to shoot and log on this phone if I wanted to. But raw photos, I should be able to take raw, lossy photos on this device. I just wish it had that. And it also can't shoot 4K 120 in slow motion. So those are things that are kind of niche, but I wish that this phone allowed it. It's definitely powerful enough to allow it. So why not give me that ability? When you look at value here, I am so surprised that Apple gave this phone base 256 gigs of storage. That is such a bold move. It really pits Google against the corner with your Pixel 10. That phone is technically more expensive than this device now if you scale it with the 256 gigs of storage. And it also pushes Samsung against the corner as well, because they don't really have a phone that can compete with this. They have the standard S25, but it's nowhere near as good of a phone as this is. So yeah, overall, shocked is honestly an understatement when it comes to this device. I definitely am in love with this phone, and I'm in love with my 17 Pro Max as well, and the iPhone Air. But this one hits different because of that value proposition. It is immaculate. I think the only reason you need a Pro Max now is, for one, you want the larger display. For two, you need the better, longer lasting battery. For three, you need better thermals. The thermals on this phone are good, but it's just like a normal phone, right? It will heat up here every once in a while. I haven't got to game that much on this device, but whenever I did, it just got warm like normal. It didn't overheat like the titanium iPhones did. But yeah, if you want the better thermals, definitely go with the Pro. And last but not least, if you need those Mac Daddy camera capabilities, go with the Pro as well. Otherwise, this is clearly the best option. Now, I will make a comparison video here very soon, but these two will be very interesting to compare. But I would go with the iPhone Air if you want something unique, something gorgeous, something that's cool, and you really just want something different. We'll talk about that more in the comparison video. But thanks for watching. Let me know if you have one of the new iPhone 17 series devices and what you think of your device. And let me know what you think directly of this iPhone 17 as well. If you enjoyed the video, shoot me a like, and I'll see you all in the next one.